Hello, this is Billa Rajendra, lecturer in English, Government Degree College, Madani, District, Puducherry. Now, I would like to discuss about. Now, I would like to discuss about note making. How to learn note making. It is important to a listener. That means, as you know, that there are some certain skills required for listening English language as well as others also. So, simple thing that I would like to tell you that if you have patience, if you have concentration on listening activity, then you can listen and you can make notes clearly. That means almost all it's very important to the students. Why? Because while they are listening the class, if they don't concentrate on the part of on the part of listening, they are not able to understand a single lecture of the teachers. So here, what I would like to say is, listening is an important task for each and every speaker of the language. And almost all, I would like to say another important thing is that if you want to speak the language, you should be a good listener at first. Otherwise, you want to speak any languages. If you want to learn any languages, you have to concentrate on listening at first. So if you are a good listener, you can easily understand and you can easily learn the language so fast. So while we are making a main point of this note making is a important task for a listener as that means as he was a student. While the lecture is going on by a teacher, and if you concentrate on listening and making notes, then and don't try to make the notes into a lengthy pattern that what the speaker is going to speak or the lecturer is going to teach. It is very simple that you have to make some of the main and sub points to the note making. That's the most important task, and later on you can recognize and you can remember about the lecture. Look at the thing that we have to learn. As we are teachers, we are going to explain something in the lecture method. Students has to listen concentrately and try to make notes. And if they won't make notes, they cannot understand whatever the lecture is. So try to understand the topic and try to understand the topic from the beginning to the end, and try to concentrate on the thing about the lecture what he is going to explain. Then another important thing is that try to get some sort of information like main points and sub points that you have to make it down. So if you making notes, try to make it the notes as as simple words like taking the main points and sub points. Then note making is an important skill like a reading, important for reading skill, important like reading skill. And it also involves the listening skills. Listening skills means if you cannot concentrate on what you are listening, and the expected answer may be different. So if you can concentrate on your listening, you can improve your note making skills as well as improve your reading skills. It involves the identification of the main idea or governing thought supported by the relevant data and specific information. So note making involves the identification of the main idea. That means the main idea, what the lecture is going on, what the passage is about. So even not only for the lecture we are going to make notes, but also we are going to make notes of a passage also. So passage also means in examination we are not able to listen the lectures. So that means there is no practicals for the nowadays we don't have practicals for the English language. If it is an English language, there should be a passage reading activity, and the activity must consist some of the paragraphs, and then after listening, the main idea is to understand, and then after he has to answer some questions. So that's a different process. And here it is a passage that is in the form of written and in the form of reading skill. So reading skill is also most important thing for a learner of the language, as well as he has to concentrate on listening. He has to concentrate on what he has to make the notes. And here, reading skills means it involves skimming and scanning. As you know that there are so many important skills that is involved, and it must. As I would like to suggest my students to concentrate on listening while the lecture is going on, while the speaker is speaking something, and what it may be. So it involves note making involves the identification of the main idea or governing main idea has to understand easily with concentration and the reading skills. And the thought, governing thought, he has to get some sort of thoughts after reading a passage or after listening a lecture and supported by the relevant data and specific information. And he has to give that means the listener as a listener or a reader has to give the supported by the relevant data for the specific information what we are going to speak about, what we are going to read about. Next, note making skills. Notes are usually made to record speech of dictation while listening to it, to refer back to produce the produced in desired way. So as I told you that it's usually made to record a speech of dictation. That means the dictation is also one of the important skill for a reader as well as a student. Why? Because usually we made speeches, we made lectures in front of the students, but what it may be, if they can concentrate, that means they have to go through with the, we will also go through with the dictation of the some important points which are usually in our lecture. Notes are usually made to record a speech or dictation while listening to the refer back to the produce in the desired way. That means if we prepared very well about the notes of our listening lecture by a student, he can write whatever he wants and whatever the notes he has noted, and he writes on his examination and he will get good marks. That means the teacher is able to produce, able to give so many examples for the lecture, from the lecture. So from that examples, he would like to get some good marks from that. So notes are usually made to record a speech or dictation. That means for a dictation or for a speech, we will make records, and we have been observed. That means we have been observed so many. We have been observed that so many stage programs, while whether it is a farewell party, whether it is a welcome party, what it may be, the president of the party, president of the function is going to address at the end. So what he would like to say, what he wants to do, the thing that means he would like to write some notes. If he is a speaker, if he wants to become a good speaker, he has to get some notes about the information of other speakers, what they said about the function, about the ceremony. And it is most important thing that he has to make notes, and then after someone has on the stage, like one of the speakers said like this, and another speaker said like this, with the names of there, he has to address at the end of the situation. What he has done in this process means he made notes about the speeches. He made notes about the speeches. For suppose double X said about the ceremony like this, and triple X said the ceremony about the ceremony like this. It is the most important thing that he can easily write notes, and he should not. That means he will definitely make notes in a way that as a main points and sub points, and not to the he can make notes like not to the lengthy speeches. So it is a way of it's a way of understanding. The record of the speech or dictation is about the notes, while listening to it, otherwise to refer back to it and to reproduce in the desired way. That is all about the note making. While producing the details of the text and notes, the meaning of the draft or the speech remains the same. It should not be deserted. That means it should not be deviated from the main topic. While producing the details of the topic which you made the dictation of the speech or dictation of the particular lecture, The text of the notes and the meaning of the dropped or should be remain the same. The meaning of the text, the meaning of the dropped or the speech of the dropped or lecture remains should be same. Otherwise, it's not a good note making. And they should not be deserted. It should not be deserted. Should not be deviated from the main topic and main idea. And the points which you want to cover, which you want to explain, which you want to write down notes, that should be about the main idea of the topic or main idea about the lecture, main idea of the paragraph. That has to understand. And personal comments or views should not be included while explaining the notes. So while if you want to explaining the notes, if you want to explaining writing in a detailed way, like note making, don't try to implement your own personal ideas or personal comments or views. That should not include in the notes if you are explaining it. The next, go through with the why notes are necessary. So if you want to say that knowledge is advancing right now, nowadays, in this impact of the globalization, knowledge is advancing. So many uh, changes we are observing around our society as well as our even our college also. The technology is also advancing, and that what we can say that knowledge is has to advance, and it has to expand so fast that we have to learn it with the same speed. That means we have to learn it. We have to learn everything with speed. That means human uh, human minds are advancing. Human minds are, we can say that human minds are very much advancing towards the machine. That means computing machines. Knowledge is advancing, and with the effect of the globalization, the entire world becomes a village. So like that, if you want to say that whatever the what task it may be, we have to change our attitude, change our behavior, change. We have to addict for the new tools for lecturing, or we have to addict for the we have to adopt the technologies and all the things. And it is most important for a learner to go through with the same speed that the world is changing and expanding so fast. Knowledge and advancing knowledge is expanding so fast that we have to learn with it in the same speed without if you can learn with the same speed, you can treat it as a human being. And human mind is not a computing machine. As we all know that human mind is not just like a computing machine. It cannot store. It can that means it can have the capacity of storage, but human mind cannot deliver what you can store in your mind. Human mind cannot deliver what you can store in your mind. So store all the knowledge and import it, and we can store in our mind with importing knowledge, but it cannot be stored with the same delivering the knowledge. And as we all know that human mind is not computing machine, and to store the knowledge imported, and we have to take notes and develop them into our own details to prepare and make maximum to the best use of a teacher's lesson or lecture, which outcome of their learned valuable labor. That means it is the most important thing that we have to understand. We have to take notes and develop them into our own details. We have to make them notes to and develop into them. As we know that I have been keep telling you about the process of how we are going to get the knowledge and how we are going to write in our examinations. For suppose if we can have some material, that means the teacher has supplied some material, and he suggested all the students to make notes or make it Xerox copies. And some students may think that it's not a good idea to give notes to their friends. Why? Because they thought that they may get good marks. And it's not the thing that we have to understand. If we can have the ability of reading skills, that means every student can have different type of reading skills. Like if you, that means if you read 2 pages of an answer, you can just write 1 page of answer in your examination. So that I would like to tell you that the expanding your answers or explanation and analysis of your answer must be different. Each and every student can read the same answer, but their presentation is totally different. Why? Because it is depend upon their ability of understanding. It's depend upon their ability of thinking power, and it's depend upon their presentation skills. So everyone reads the same answer, but everyone presents different in their examination. Everyone presents different answers in their examination. That's what outcome is. And we have to take notes and develop them into our own details to prepare and make maximum and best use of our teacher's lesson or lecture, which is outcome of their learned valuable labor. It's depend upon their labor and their concentration and their hard work. That means students has to work hard to make notes and develop themselves into their own details. That means that means as a teacher, I experienced that if I give any summaries in our classroom as a dictation, last dictation must be different from the present dictation of the same lesson. So why? Because we can go through with the number of different ideas in our mind. Like that, we can prepare our own. We have to develop our own ideas and thoughts, and that must be maximum to the best of our lecture and teach our lesson, and which outcomes should be a valuable labor and notes that are very important and for almost all educated persons, teachers, lawyers, doctors, and students, as well as it's the number of the means number of learned persons they have to make the. It is very important for those people like teachers and lawyers and doctors and students also. And there are essential characteristics of notes. What we have to go through with essential characteristics. First point is they should be very short. And as I told you that we should not go for the lengthy sentences in our note making. It should be main points has to observe and they have to dictate. We have to write it in as in a point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And if you want to make any clear idea about the main points and sub points, and you can go through with the first point has the subdivisions of A, B, C, D, and like that. So whatever may be, notes are very short. It cannot go through with lengthy sentences and complete information. The second should be complete the information. That means we have to go get the complete information on the particular nodes and use short forms and don't and use short forms means I would like to say one of the incident in my experience. That is that I used to regularly attend the classes of our intermediate. There is a course like type and short typewriting and shorthand. Shorthand is a very best course. That is what I can come across with so many times, like observe, making notes. It's a very important thing that the speaker is going to speak the message. If the speaker is able to speak so fast, then we will definitely, if we are not able to follow the speaker's words, we have to go through with the shorthand. Shorthand means it's just like a short form. So use short forms like don't go through with the lengthy sentences, the main idea. That means in a sentence, if we can come across with the main idea or main word, that has to be written. That is what you can use in short form. And the last, another important thing is, fourth one is about the logical. Logical means we have to get the information in a way of logical sense. And look at the first one. They are written short. They are written short. Why? Because they are written in keywords or phrases like and not in sentences. They are written in keywords or phrases, but not in a sentence. What means we should not go through with the entire sentence what the speaker is able to speak. We should not go through the lengthy sentences what has written the paragraph. What has written in a paragraph, we should not go through with the lengthy sentences. They should be written like some keywords, or we have to go through with the some phrases. And there is no need to care for the grammatical accuracy. There are short, brief, and compact, giving complete meaning. They are giving complete meaning and a complete sense. There is no need to care of grammatical accuracy. That means it's okay, it's in the form of written, but the language doesn't, the structural grammatical language doesn't require while you are writing notes. They are very short and brief and compact. It can be. And another important thing that I would like to tell you that a person who is going to make notes, and he can easily understand what the speaker is said or what the paragraph is about. And if the notes has to be seen by any other students, he is not able to understand what he is going to write. But what it may be, if you write in a points wise way, you can easily understand, and you can compact with about the what about the paragraph or what about the lesson is. And second, the complete information note should be contained all the important points or information. Nothing important or not are crucial to the draft or such speech is to be missed. The note should be contain all the important points and information. That means it has to complete. That means the listener has to understand. Listener has to concentrate on listening activity from the beginning to the end. That means from the beginning they would like to some important say some important points. Some more persons they would like to speak important points at the end. So it is most important that we have to concentrate the main idea and main important points of the information, and nothing important or crucial to be dropped or the speech is to be missed. Nothing has to be missed. That means if in the speech or in a paragraph, which one is most important, that they should not miss in your notes. If you miss in that notes particularly, they are not rated as best and good notes. And adjectival or qualifying phrases or sentences and explanatory parts of the main points are left out. So you have to left the adjectival or qualifying phrases which like adding some more meaning of the adding the words which are qualifies the noun. They are not more important thing, I think. And the sentences and explanatory parts of the main sentence are just we have to the main points just we have to left. And go through with the third one. Use short forms. To save time, labor, popular abbreviations and symbols are used, and own abbreviations and also kind, but they should be clear and intelligible. That means you can use your own ideas. You can use your own thoughts of abbreviations while you are making notes, but it has to be very clear, and it has to be understood by the observer. That means it has to be very. It has to understood by the um, that means I can say that examiner of your making notes. To save the time and labor, use abbreviations. There is nothing to worry. Use abbreviations or use symbols, whatever you can see in the sentence. And it is also, there is own observation that you should coin your own words, but whatever may be, try to, you should be clear about that particular word and intelligible about the particular words. The next fourth one is logical. Notes are in logical and natural order under the relevant headings and subheadings for essay and quick references. So notes are in logical and natural order, and relevant heading and subheadings for easy and quick references must be. That means you have to think in a logical order, and you have to go through with some order. That means if you want to, that means if you want to write notes, you should go through with some sort of the what we can say script. Script is important for we can say that screenplay is important for a picture. Why? Because that means the screenplay thinker, he can think that which one has to come first and which one has to be next. Like that, we have to make our notes in a logical arrangements, that which one has to come first and which one has to come next and then next and then. And it has to be the notes has to be constructed in just like a story style, story form, and the story has to give the idea, clear idea, while we are reading notes. And notes are logical. Notes should be, that's why notes are logical, and under the relevant headings and subheadings were easy to quick references, and they are easy to be quick references. And how to make notes. Before making notes, read the passage at least thrice. That means if you want to make notes of a speech, it is very easy to go through with concentrating of listening activity, and from the beginning to the end we have to concentrate on the speech, and we have to make a notes in a point of view that just like in a story script. But if you want to make notes about the paragraph, a passage, go through with the activity of reading first. Try to understand what you can get an idea, what you can get idea about the passages. Try to write one or two, three or four points as a rough work for identifying the main idea of the passage, or we can say that for reading the second one you can get another idea, and try to make some notes about that second reading activity, and go through with the thrice also. Why? Because if you can go through with the thrice, you can get a clear idea about the passage. Then you can easily make notes, and you can put appropriate title also for the passage of note making. This help you to identify the main points and their sub points, and arrange them. And this helps us as we're all if you are trying to make notes, and if we can go through with the reading of the passage for first time, second time, third time, fourth time, fifth time, it's not a, it's very, if you find any difficulty in the first time, go through with the second, and if you can find any difficulty in the second also, you can go through with the thrice, and fourth time also you can read the passage for getting an idea about the main idea of the passage. And this helps us identify the main points and their sub points, and arrange them in whatever you want, and whatever the manner in way. Just like as I told you that the script writing is the most important for a picture, like making notes. And if anyone wants to see the notes, that just he has to understand about the plot, that which we can say in our novels, the plot is the most important thing for a novel. Like that a construction of the arrangements of the notes, and identifying the main points and their sub points, and while we are arranging them in an order, it's an important thing. And if necessary, note making is essentially the skill to put the great it's a, sorry for the inconvenience, there is a disturbance. We will go through with the next part of the so here we are discussing how to make notes. And it is, if necessary, note making is essentially the skill to put a great deal of information in few words, or it means before the making notes, we have to go through with the reading once and twice and thrice, or fourth time, fifth time, you can read the paragraph to get some sort of idea about the paragraph, and try to make a notes. And if necessary, notes making is an essentially the skill to put the great deal of information. Note making is an essentially the skill to put a great deal of information in a few words and an intelligible form, and including all its essential points. All its essential points. That means Making is an essential, note making an essentially the skill that put a great deal of information in few words in an intelligent form and including all lists all its essential points. So it is most important thing that how we can make note means it is a skill. Making notes is a skill, and we have to put a great deal of information in few words. We will put a great information in few words. That's an intelligible form, and it includes all essential points about the main paragraph. It is important. And suggestion of a title: to make notes, the first read the passage from the beginning to end. Try to find out what the passage deals with. Try to find what the passage deals with. What the passage deals with. Or what the author's view. What author's view has to be observed. To make notes, first read the passage from the beginning to end and try to find out what the passage deals with or what the author's views. This will guide you to suggest the suitable title, and each one can think in a different way. So like that, all the students, if you read a paragraph in the same way, some may think about one title and another may think about a different title. That's the thing we have to see and go through with the passage with detail, and what the author's views is most important, and it can be a thought that you can go through with your title. The title should be either a word or a short phrase. It should not be a sentence. So title should not be a sentence. It should not go. It has to go through with some phrase or some words that may include as a title. And finding the main points now. See how the author has to develop the theme and divide the passage accordingly into main parts. Take care of that each part deals with one main point related to the theme of the passage, and also find a suitable heading for each part. This will be your main points. And finding the main point means see how the author has developed the theme. That means how the passage has to be developed and how the author is going to explaining something in the passage, and divide the passage accordingly into the main points. According to your mind, according to your thought, you can try to divide the passage into main parts and take care of each part deals with the main point which is related to the theme of the passage. And that is most important thing, that we have to think about the main point, and the point of the main points has to have the theme divided into each part, and the each part has to be explained for the main point, and all the parts has to be included in the theme of the passage, and also find a suitable heading for each part. That is, if you can think it is necessary, you can put a suitable heading for each part, and that can be also some of the main points for the passage, and there will be your own main points. These will be your own main points, and if a writer cannot, that means in the passage you cannot find about the main points and all these things, but in your thoughts you can find the main points about your intentions. And finding the sub points, the next step is to find details of the image. The next step is to be find details of each main points, and each details will make as subheadings under the main points, and they can be further details of sub and subheadings. The next step is to find details of each main point, and each detail will make as subheadings, and under these subheadings we have to go through with the main points, and there can be further details as subheadings. And how to write notes: you must write your notes in proper way, note forms as you given below. First write the title and then notes in logical order using figures and letters to shown heading and subheadings as given below. For main headings we have to go through with the Roman numbers 1, 2, 3, etc. And for subheadings we have to go through with the English numbers 1, 2, 3, etc. And for subheadings or subpoints or subheadings, we have to go through with ABC, alphabets of small letters. Alphabets of small letters, don't go through with the capital letters, and go through with the small alphabets of ABC, etc. The next, from the main points, try to remember the main headings of the subheadings, and the numbering should be spaced a little to the right. That means we have to put the Roman number, then after we have to go through with our English number 1, 2, 3. First Roman number, then after give some space to write English numbers. And from the main heading and subheadings, the number should be spaced in a little right. And don't write your notes in complete sentences. So here we are not explain. I am not. I told you that we should not write lengthy sentences like complete sentences. Don't try to write your notes in a complete sentence, and use your words for brief and clear phrases, which may not be grammatically correct. Don't go through with the structural grammatical sentences of English language. Try to go through with whatever you think. Whatever you think, whatever you want to write, try to write the phrase or try to write a word, and don't go through with the grammar parts of the language, and don't try to make it in a make it in a correct way of using English grammar while you are writing notes. Make use of abbreviations and symbols. Try to make use of abbreviations and symbols for writing notes. And now there is a paragraph that's will try. Anything printed and bound in this book can be called a book, but the quality of a mind distinguishes the value of it. What is book? This is how Anat France describes it as a series of little printed signs, essentially only that it is the reader to supply himself the forms and the date and colors and the sentiments to which these signs correspond. It will depend upon him whether the book be dull or brilliant, and how hot with passion and cold with as ice. Or if you prefer to put it otherwise, each word in the book is a magic finger that sets a fiber of our brain vibrating like sharp string, and so evokes notes from sound board of our soul. No matter how skillful and how inspired the artist's hand, the sound it makes depend upon the quality of string within ourselves. Until recently, books were the preserve of the small sections, the urban classes. Some people even today make it a point to call themselves intellectuals. It would be a pity if the book were meant only for intellectuals or and not for housewives and farmers and factory workers and artisans, etc. In India, there are first generation learners whose parents might have been illiterate. This poses the special challenges to our authors and to those who were entrusted with the task of disseminating knowledge. We need much more research in the use of language and the development of the techniques by which the knowledge can be transformed to these people without transmission loss. Publishers should initiate the pursued people that good book makes a good present, and that reading a good book can be the most relaxing as well as observing of pastimes. We should aim at the quality at books of quality no less than a quantity and expansion in production or sale. Unless one is constantly exposed to the best, one cannot develop the taste for good. So from this paragraph, we try to make sentences. The title we go the means it is a paragraph explaining about the books. So I put the title like value of books, and the main point, first point about the value of books according to annotated fonts. The means fonts explained about the value of books as main heading, and subheading it is merely printed signs, and for another subheading readers response about the colors and forms and sentiments. So in this subheadings again, we go through with the main sub points: dull or brilliant, hot or cold, touches the soul. So second one about the main point, books meant for different sections like intellectuals, housewives, farmers, factory workers. They are not able to concentrate on this. That means the people, urban people, the intellectuals, they think that books for housewives and books for first generation learners, challenges for authors and teachers and publishers. Publishers' role, fourth main point is publishers' role to annotate, campaign to persuade people, good books and bad books and beautiful books, and press reading books and relaxing and observing the pastime to produce the quality, and key to observe used according to the first and books generation gen differences intellectuals as intellect, relaxation for relaxing. These are the key points about this particular note making. And please, from this, I would like to conclude my session on note making.